go.
All right, so 5, 4, 3.
I do the same thing.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? This is Andrew with Combat Art Training. I'm here today with Eric from Barrel and Hatchet. I just did Contender Pistol here at Aries Training Facility. Awesome class. What I wanted to give Eric a chance to talk about would be, what is it that made you want to put the class together the way you do? What were the things you're trying to teach the students when you first thought of this?
I think so. I mean, as far as the class goes, it's more of a fundamental basics class. It allows people who are, either you're further along in your journey or you're kind of a newer shooter, not brand new. It's not a basic firearm safety class. It's kind of like you've had guns for a while, you want to actually learn how to use them proficiently, or you're pretty far along and you're looking to shave off some time on your, time off of your drills. So the biggest thing is a big focus on the fundamentals. The also big thing I look for is trying to develop good form. And so that way guys aren't creating bad habits, which I had, that I had to untrain myself. So I try to think about when I was a younger shooter and all the, I absorbed everything and how much I took that to heart and practice those things. And so I kind of want to put people off in the right direction by making sure that they have good form, and then also keeping those fundamentals in terms of cutting out all the inefficiencies by going to classes myself. So I go to class myself and just constantly evolving. So people will come to class and it might be a little bit different every time because it's always evolving with things that just get better because there's people who figured it out that's a better way to do it. So,
right. Yeah. And that's the way I think it should be.
Yeah.
And that's good to hear. We'll talk more about that in the interview.
Sure.
That's the thing I like. I really like in instructors. You can tell the difference between the ones that go take classes still and the ones who don't.
Right.
It's like, you sure about that?
Yeah.
But the flow was fantastic, especially today, because it was less minutia, which I really appreciated too, because the pacing of it went real well. It was kind of like, hey, here's the concept. We're gonna do it for one mag, which is the style I like. What kind of drove you into that style? Were you like that when you first started teaching?
No, so I honestly would jump into, I did a lot of talking and when I first started teaching, and it was just like talk. And eventually I'm like, would I want to go to my class? Like if I was a student, would I want to go to my own class? And I'm like, no, I actually probably wouldn't, because I always can't stand classes where it's just so much talking. And I'm like, let's just shoot. Like, can we just start by shooting? And then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really try to focus on, is just, one, diagnosing the students by letting them shoot right off the bat. And then that kind of gives me an idea of where to scale. And then once I have that kind of picture, then we can adapt the class and either go further along, or it's like, hey, we might want to take it back a little bit because the lowest common denominator is going to dictate that. So the biggest thing I look for is essentially to prepare students for run and gun style classes, that either through Open Gym, which is a continuous training program that I do with Ben from Wiseman Company, or just to be able to perform drills and stuff that are, I think, more real world based. But also, if you wanted to, you can go competition route, right?
Yeah.
And so there's applicable skills for both training, competition, or tactical.
Now, okay, so you did mention the lowest common denominator dictates, but I didn't really see it that way. I felt like when there was something that needed to be addressed, it was addressed for everyone.
Right.
But then still, like the guys who didn't have that one issue, they were still able to move at their own pace, especially when we're doing all the movement drills.
Sure.
So it was like, even you might think that is a general thing in classes, but I didn't feel that at all.
Oh, wow. That's good.
I felt like anyone is able to push their skill, push their technique. And another thing too is one of the quotes that I really liked from your class was, when safety starts falling apart, then you need to slow it down.
Yeah.
So it was like everyone was able to push but maintain control and grow from that.
Yeah, and I think it also goes back to the quality of the students. I've been blessed to have high quality students, where people who, like yourself, who are further along in their journey. It's obviously like, okay, I'm going to push myself on this very basic drill, because honestly, fundamentals are just basic things, right? And so it's like, I'm going to pressure myself a little bit more and kind of increase the difficulty by just going fast and kind of seeing where it falls apart. And so I guess allowing an environment where they can, either be super slow or try to really push it till the wheels fall off. Like, I think that's important for a class. But the biggest thing is just like, let's just start shooting. All right, let's, enough talking. We get it. And I honestly, I used to be one of those guys, like I would like hear myself talk, and Ben is the opposite. He's like, let's shoot. Like screw the concepts and the science. Let's just freaking shoot the gun and figure it out.
Yeah, it's I had that same thing where I used to do that. It's the over explaining, trying to make sure they know when it's really like they gotta kind of do it to understand anyways.
Which is how I am as well. I have to like do it to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I'm gonna talk some more on this. I just wanted to kind of let Eric give his 2 cents on what the class is about, where it's coming from, and then I'm also gonna do an interview with him. So Contender Pistol by Barrel and Hatchet is an awesome class, and you should take it. It doesn't really matter so much if you are a highly advanced shooter or a like, hey, I'm just like, kind of beginning. I've taken a class. Probably shouldn't be your first class because you'll really be hitting the ground running. And what they're doing with their approach to teaching is not so much like nitty gritty. Touch this, bring the gun here, now push it out. Like they're not taking it step by step and holding your hand. So if you're brand new, I would take a more basic class first. But for the guys that are like, hey, I'm fairly decent, and I've been to a class where I'm drawing my gun, you'll get a lot out of it. The thing I liked about that was when they would just explain a concept and then allow us to go practice the concept, it was kind of like whatever level you're at, you're able to push yourself. Now, one of the things I really liked was their approachment to fundamentals in the sense that they go over them, but it's not too much. And, like one of the big things that with pistol shooting is a lot of it comes back to grip. And that was a consistent thing where it's like, kind of like if we're going to get nitty gritty on something, let's make sure everyone's gripping their gun correctly. So that was a thing that I saw also with especially some of the newer students gradually as they were going through the drills, correcting on the grip. So I saw growth from them there. So that's like me seeing proof of concept, classes teaching them, they're applying it, it's working.
The consistent signs of a bad grip, which is low or shooting left because he's right-handed. So take that other finger and just crank it in there with everybody else. You can maximize that grip so much more, and he was able to smash. He only missed 1 round. Just take the time to fix it. Get jacked up grip, take that half a second or that second to fix the grip, and then you're gonna have a lot more successful run than just trying to hold what you got.
The beginning of the class is when they're doing the fundamental stuff, and the pacing is a little bit more at the crawl speed, and then quickly gets into walking, because then we're drawing and we're doing target transitions and trying to push the speed on reloads. After we do that stuff, we start doing a lot more movement stuff. Drawing on the move, moving from the barrels and getting shots at different positions, advancing straight forward. And it was well thought out in the way where every drill you had to make your hits to advance forward. I can see a sense of accomplishment with everyone there too, where it's like they're not going to the next stage until they get their hits. So they have to earn it. And it's like a thing I refer to as, it's kind of like you're using dopamine for progress. Like you hear the steel ring or you do the thing right and you get your hits, then you can move on. The formula to the way they're teaching in the class was highly effective. If you take a barrel and hatchet class, it'd be way different than like what I teach or stuff I talk about on my YouTube channel. If you're someone who's like only into me or some other trainer, it's like you should go learn what other people are teaching, especially to fully understand the message behind their teachings. We all seek a little bit more understanding. The world would be a much better place, right? All right, now one other note I want to hit is that they were highly effective on giving simple quotes that like explain a concept very well. Where people struggle or fail on a certain thing, it's like they have a lot of really good quotes that kind of simplifies it into a digestible format for the student. And I wrote down a bunch of them, and I'm gonna steal some of them, so let's do credit right now. But they did a very good job of that. Like the communication part on teaching is probably the hardest part of it, right? Because You have to take a concept, an idea, communicate it for that student to even get the right message. So they're highly effective on that. The reason why I came to the Barrel and Hatchet class was because I have had many of my students and my friends that have been like, hey man, they're on point, they're in Florida, like you need to get with them. And I don't watch gun YouTube, like hardly at all. So I did check them out, and the big thing I like, man, was the Christian message. And the other thing is, like, everything I've seen has been positive. That's so hard to find, guys. Like, that is something that we need to put a higher value on. You know, you're like, okay, we could be the best tactically and at shooting guns and all that. Yeah, that's fine. But if we act like degenerates, then what's really the point behind it? We need to make our culture better. Like, imagine we could vote all the most perfect politicians in. Okay, when we look at the way America is now, would that really matter? So Barrel and Hatchet is doing positive things that change our culture for the better. And I think you guys need to help them spread their message more. So that's why I was here. I had a great time in class. I had one of my students here too. He had trained with Barrel and Hatchet before, and he recommended them. I saw nothing but positivity in the way the class is running from the students also. So man, like, you're gonna get a lot out of one of their classes, not just knowledge-wise, but also just like the way everyone should be acting, the way we should conduct ourselves. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Go take a Barrel and Hatchet class. Just check out their website, link below, and remember that training saves lives.